Yeah, I mean, you think back a year ago today, I'm living in a hotel, doing the biweekly parent, husband life, trying to find somewhere to live. So yeah, I much prefer this year than last year. You blink and it's been over a year, and phenomenally blessed to be here. Obviously, off season here is a lot different than in the NFL, but it's great to be back on the grass with a bunch of new faces and excited to go.
Brian, go ahead. Coach, you mentioned at the Alamo Bowl that this year would look different because there's different personnel. So as you've gone through it over the last couple of months, what do you think about the personnel you have here as far as some of the tools you have, but also some of the differences you have?
Yeah, it's exciting. You never really know what you got till you get on the grass. You know, I think it's our job as coaches, we've talked about it a bunch, is to learn the learners. You know, you can get around these guys, kind of know how they learn, how they see the game. You know, really the month of January and February, you know, our strength staff does a great job. And just excited. You know, it's day one. We get 15 opportunities in the spring and make the most of them and put guys in tough spots because it's not always going to be easy. And just excited about, you know, where we're headed.
Brian, go ahead. Speaking of differences in personnel, you guys have a lot of differences.
Hold on. Turn that mic on, please. Sorry. Got it? I got it.
You good?
It's spring practice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Sorry about it.
Yeah,
It's first day.
I'll restart. Speaking of differences in personnel, you guys look a lot different at linebacker.
Yeah.
What has it been like working with guys like Martavius and Reginald so far?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't done much. You know, obviously just the way that the college cycle goes. You know, you get good reports from the weight room. Excited about those guys. You know, they had a chance to visit, you know, in that first portal window. And, you know, it's great to talk and people can talk about it. I see a lot better than I hear. So I'm excited to see the practices and see what they can do, make the calls, communicate. You know, obviously that position, you're the quarterback of the defense. So somebody told me a long time ago, you know, you don't really learn football in the classroom. You learn it on the field. It's like basketball that way. So they get a lot of reps, you know, the way we practice today. We get 14 more of those. So excited to see where they go. And then other guys, you know, that have been here, maybe they just got here. It's truly a clean slate for everybody.
Matt, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Nice to see you again.
Brother? You too.
I think I heard you mention in a well-off video when speaking to the team the other day that you went back and kind of did your year-in review process. Yeah. Kind of first of a two-parter. What did you take away from kind of going back and digesting last year and the season that you put together?
Yeah, I think you always got to look at yourself as a leader, as a play caller, those things. When times are tough, what did you do? You know, embarrassingly, I always start with the losses. And, hey, what can I do better? You know, you feel like you let the team down. So you want to look at it and situationally, you know, hey, dude, it's 2nd and 7. You keep calling 5-man pressures. Like, you're allowed to play a zone here or vice versa. Hey, you got to bring the heat. And just have those hard conversations with yourself. That's really what the month of January and February was for me. You know, we're very blessed. The recruiting staff does a great job. The coaches travel and they do all that stuff. And I get to sit here and try to come with the best version of us. And that starts with the best version of me as a play caller.
To build off of a little bit of what you were just talking about, you know, you don't really know what you got until, you know, you get onto the grass.
Yeah.
Is that process for you accelerated this year because you do know more of what you have compared to when you came in, and so maybe it's easier to build that scheme and build some of those concepts that you want to use because you do have a better idea of what you have?
Yeah, I think it goes back to the first question, you know, just in terms of the offseason. You have to have the hard questions. You have to ask yourself, what is the why here? You know, why are we teaching it this way? Why are we calling this? You know, what's strong about it? What's weak about it? And I think the organizations, the businesses that can have those hard conversations of, hey, is this the best way to do it? Is this the best way to teach? Right, wrong, or indifferent, these kids are different in 2025. You know, it's a much more 15-second look here, squirrel over there mindset. So, you know, how are we going to reach them? You know, that's our job. We're teachers at the end of the day. So changed up the way we do some things, obviously with a new group. You know, I think we'll have 7, 8 new starters. You know, who are the leaders going to be? And that's the exciting part about the spring. I mean, the X's and O's are one thing. You guys have heard me say it. At the end of the day, we're just calling stuff off a Denny's menu, right? They got to bring it to life, and leaders got to lead from the front. So that's what I'm most excited about, to see who's gonna take this team and say, okay, hey, you guys get on my back and let's go.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, what's up, brother?
Hey, how's it going? In the secondary, you guys are obviously losing a couple big names and leaders in Cameron and Travis. Just who are you kind of looking for to kind of step into those leadership roles, and what would you like to see out of those guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, leadership can look different in different ways. Obviously, Travis was, you know, we talked about it. Travis was our culture, right? When your hardest your hardest working player is also your best player. That clearly defines what culture is. So the guys we have now, it'll look different. You know, Cam's not walking through the door. You guys have heard me talk about it. In terms of leadership, Cam is one of one. So I think it's hard to say you're going to be a leader until you get on the grass. You know, you can only lead so much in the weight room when you're sprinting and conditioning and doing those things. So that's what spring is for. And we had that conversation with the guys of, you know, hey, I want you guys up here. You don't have to listen to me speak the whole spring. You know, I want you guys to have a voice and truly let this be your defense and let us get out of the way.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
What's up, man?
It was reported this offseason that, you know, you became the highest paid assistant in Colorado history. Congratulations on that. I'm just curious how it feels to know that you were valued, that you were rewarded, you know, by a school, a program that, you know, you're only been at, you know, for a year or so.
Yeah, I mean, I know people say this, and it probably gets lost. This is a special place, and they gave me a chance, you know, so that's never lost on me. You know, I kind of joke around and say I was the dog on the side of the road that people drove by and said, that's a good-looking dog, but we're good. And they brought me in, and they changed my life. They changed my family's life, so it's my job to not let them down. So it goes back to the first question, you know, hey, it's year 2, but hey, dude, you can't blow this. You got to do a great job, so that's what I'm excited for. Jake, go ahead.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Jake Schwantz from DMVR. Just, you know, you mentioned you're looking for new leaders for this team, and I was just curious, you know, who are the returning guys that you're looking at to really step up and, you know, come into that leadership role this season for you?
You know, I have to say everyone because this is on the internet, so it must be true. It's got to be out there. You know, there's some guys that have done it, that have maybe transferred in, you know, looking for a variety of different roles or et cetera. I mean, I think that's what the portal's about, right, is kind of betting on yourself, if you will. Guys that are coming back, you know, we got Arden Walker. Arden and I have had this conversation, so I can have it publicly. This place means a lot to him. Obviously, he's a generational player here. So if he could step up and truly take that leadership role, that would be really cool. And, you know, some transfers and all that stuff. But it's, you know, may the best man win. You know, it can, again, it looks, it smells, it's a variety of different ways. Leadership's a funny thing that way. So couldn't tell you who it's going to be, but I'm excited to find out.
Hey, Coach, another one for you. You mentioned, obviously, Cam a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
I talked to Cam recently, and he mentioned that Tawfiq Byard, the USF transfer, he sees a lot of his game, Tawfiq's game in himself. I'm curious, just from what you've seen from Tawfiq on film and the little bit of time you spent around him, do you see maybe some similarities in terms of play style,
Yeah.
maybe some leadership capabilities?
You know, genetics are always a good thing. So with Tawfiq's brother being who he is, if we can get some of that, that would be great. He played a similar role at USF. You know, they were a little bit different defensively. They played some more shell, and they did some things like that maybe we can get to. We'll see how the spring goes. But it's hard for me to put that crown of Cam on somebody else. You know, again, I told you I see better than I hear. So, yes, that was part of the process. But Cam's a special dude to me, so I got to see that.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to follow up with Scott's first question. You know, in the offseason start before that contract extension, there was a lot of talk about maybe, you know, NFL teams wanting you or another college. Why stick with Boulder?
Why not? Where do you live?
Louisville.
Okay, so you drove here today, the mountains, all that stuff. This is a special place, and I know it's that time of year that it's what you're supposed to say, and, you know, this will get tweeted out and all that stuff. But, you know, I believe it, and, you know, I'm very loyal. They gave me a chance, and, you know, I want to see that through. I'm very appreciative, very grateful of, obviously, Rick George and Prime, and, you know, Alec has been a rock star in this process. So, yeah, it was going to take something really special to move my family again. We talked about it. So yeah, I'm thrilled to be here. It's a phenomenal blessing, and just excited for the future. John, go ahead.
Coach, the staff and the program earned a lot of street cred for being receptive to having a two-way player.
Yeah.
And if it works, why change it? Could you see yourself doing that again if you have a dynamic player sharing with the offense, something like that?
Yeah, so what he's alluding to is actually Travis got another year, so Travis is coming back. You know, we're excited. Yeah. You know, I don't like talking about money, but I gave him a little bit. All right, we could have left that out. I have 4 kids. They like nice things. So, no, it's, you know, Travis is one of one. You know, obviously what he did, he's a unicorn. I probably should have copyrighted that. I think that's getting a little bit of play now. So, you know, yeah, it would be great. The way that we do it here is obviously you got to master one side of the ball before you can do the other. Isaiah Harge is a guy that played both ways for us last year. Obviously, rock and a probably not a sexy way when you play offensive and defensive line. You have no idea who's in there. So yes, if you can do that, then that's great. But let's work on one side and then we'll go forward.
Anything else for Coach? Go ahead, Matt.
Will you just talk about your secondary a little bit, and how big it was to get Preston Hodge back for you this year?
Yeah, shout out Diego Pavia. Forever grateful to you, dude. Never met you, but if I make it to Nashville, first drink's on me. Yeah, to get Preston back is key. You know, he's a really good player. I think the way that we play, you know, Preston kind of stirs the drink. DJ, we're excited about DJ. I think when you watch DJ walk in the room, you're like, oh my God, that's a guy. So I'm excited to see him take the next step. Obviously, Colton Hood's a guy that, you know, every chance he got, he made the most of it. You know, thinking back to K-State, 4th and 6, you know, interception versus Arizona. Played well when his number was called, and he's hungry. So feel really good about the corner room. You know, behind that, R.J. Johnson's a guy that transferred in last year, didn't get a lot of play. I love the look in R.J.'s eyes. You know, he's I think he's poised to have a really good spring, so excited for him. In the safety spot, you know, I've already talked about Taufik. You know, Carter Stoutmeier's a guy that plays a variety of roles for us. You know, he kind of embodies what we want to be, having a tribe mentality. It's not about himself, it's about the team and what's best. You know, to go from playing post safety to nickel to corner is rare. And he's obviously a genetic freak, so excited for him. You know, Ben broke down the team twice today, so that might have been a record. You know, Ben's done a great job in the weight room, and he brings a lot of great energy and juice, and we'll see where it falls out after that. So, you know, I've said this before, Kevin Mathis is as good a teacher as I've ever been around. So as long as I don't screw it up, Kevin's going to do a great job with those guys, and they'll have a great year.
Last one, Tyler, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, Tyler King with Denver Gazette. You've mentioned many times about how you learned so much just from seeing the guys on the field. Just curious what the balance is this spring as opposed to last spring in terms of installing some of the little stuff that you want to do, just your core stuff, while also just trying to see what you got with a new group of guys and seeing what guys that returned, what kind of steps they've taken throughout the offseason.
Yeah, I think, you know, year two in college football, you have a much better feel for everything. I think you walk into every situation saying, yeah, I understand how wide the hashes are. And you get out there, you're like, oh, my God, these things are wide. The unbalanced formations, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, I have a general feel for kind of who we want to be. But it's always about players, not plays, right? So I think when you think back to last year at this time, you know, we're trying to install concepts and schemes and you know, I'm playing Ted Lasso a little bit, you know, trying to make everybody believe in what we're going to be. You know, this year we can truly just get right to it, which is exciting. Will we morph some? Yeah, we will, because, again, we won't have those guys. So it's our job to get the guys, the four best players we can do to put them in position to be successful. And to me, if you look at, you know, the Patriots for all those years, and as great as they were on offense and Brady and that stuff, I mean, they would be different defensively every week. So if we can take that mindset this spring to be situational masters, you know, not beat ourselves, you know, I think when you go back and look at the games we lost last year, you know, Paul Gunther told me a long time ago, right, more games are lost than are won. And I think if you look across the spectrum, like, it was self-inflicted wounds. So let's be great on third down. Let's be great in the red zone. Will that look different? Yeah, it probably will. But let's do the best version of ourselves and kind of see where the chips fall.
Thanks, Coach.
Good? Thanks, guys.